Today's episode is brought to you by Hidden House Coffee. Go check out their locations here in Orange County, California, or get some coffee delivered to your house at hiddenhousecoffee.com. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ben.
And today we have a really awesome special guest with us. This dude, I'm sure you've seen his Instagram clips or his TikToks. I'm going to ask him if it's okay if I throw one up here above. But we have Josh Santiago, Empowering Cuts, with us in the house today. Josh, dude, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I truly appreciate it. Seriously, thank you so much.
Him and I were just talking right before this. Ben was being a slacker and showed up late. So
I sure did.
Not honoring people's time, not being a kid. No, I was kidding. We were just saying, I was like, dude, I honestly didn't expect you to message back. And he was like, honestly, I miss messages because he gets so many. So this is like, we're not a faith-based podcast, but for me, I'm like, dude, God hooked it up today. And so I'm so excited to have him on. But you know what, man, we're really like, I saw what you were doing, and I've seen your videos before, and I just realized actually on my personal account right before this that I wasn't following you, which is embarrassing for me. But I've seen your videos a ton, and it just like we were talking about, in our area, we have a lot of homeless, and we have a lot of people down on their luck, and it's one thing to talk about being a good human, and then there's another thing to go out and be a good man, and you've been doing that, and so, dude, we just want to give you a platform for you to share your story. Go as in-depth or not in-depth as you want, and we'll just let you run with it.
Okay, cool. So, again, thank you guys for having me. I truly appreciate it. Seriously, I really do. So my name is Josh, founder of Empowering Cuts, a nonprofit organization based out of Philadelphia. I travel the country. I provide free haircuts for individuals experiencing homelessness, and everything happened for me. Well, my perspective of life has changed for me when I turned 24 years old. When I turned 24 years old, I just came out of jail. I enrolled into barber school, and my barber instructor, he would take the whole class to shelters. That's how I learned how to cut hair. And me being able to provide a free haircut to someone meant more to me than to actually receive money for it. Mind you, prior to that, I never picked up a clipper a day in my life. So a lot of the students that were in barber school, they didn't have the experience. So my barber instructor, his method was, we're going to go into these shelters. We're going to provide these free haircuts. You guys are able to give back, but you guys are also able to get the hands-on training that you guys need while we're in these shelters. So me going into these shelters, providing these free haircuts, it was the one day that was super exciting for me. When I went to barber school, I was looking forward to that day every single month. And after that, I graduated barber school. My barber school ended up going bankrupt, but then I was able to graduate barber school on time. So I put in for a forgiveness loan. They forgave the whole loan. So the loan that I originally took out for the $20,000, I didn't have to pay them back because they forgave the whole loan. So I basically went to school for free, and I was able to graduate on time as well. So it was just it was a great thing for me, and at that moment, I'm just like, you know what? I love giving haircuts to individuals that's currently experiencing homelessness. So then I partnered up with a nonprofit organization in Sacramento, California. And when that was my first time ever on a plane, any of that. And when I went out there and, I provided free haircuts out there, I just noticed that homelessness didn't reside just in Philadelphia. It was everywhere else. So from that day forward, I just made it my mission for me to travel the country and provide free haircuts. So I've been to a lot of places. I've been to Sacramento. I've been to San Francisco, LA, Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Atlanta, Chicago, a ton of places, Vegas, a ton of places that I've been to. And one thing that all these places have in common is that for the most part, the homeless population is in the hood everywhere you go. But these individuals are human, but they're very it, it, they're amazing humans. You know, they're amazing people. It's just a lot of people don't sit and have conversations with them and actually get to know them for who they are. It's easier for me to do it because I'm able to provide a service to them by providing a haircut. And in the midst of me providing a haircut while they're sitting in a chair, I'm talking to them and getting to know them. That's why I say every time, like the work that I do, there's a lot of barbers out here that talent wise run circles around the talent that I have. But one thing that they can't run circles around is the relationships that I build with these individuals that sit in my chair, you know, because a majority of the time we're able to, you know, have these conversations. I build rapport with these individuals. I give them my personal number and they know if they need me for anything, they could call me. I don't care what it's for. They could call me 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And if I'm up or if the phone wakes me up and they're ready to go into a program, I'm driving down, you know, 20 minutes out, 30 minutes out sometimes, just so I could pick that individual up, so I could take that individual to a program, because I have an understanding that when they're ready to get clean, I got to move on that fast in order to get them into a program, you know? And I
Yeah.
say that because a majority of the homeless population in Philadelphia is individuals that's homeless due to drug addiction. I
Mm.
know that everybody isn't homeless because of drug addiction, but in Philadelphia, a majority of the people that's homeless here is because of an addiction, and a majority of the people that's homeless in Philadelphia is individuals that's not from Philadelphia. We just have a huge open drug market here, so everybody comes here because we have a massive train line and people just pouring through the train lines, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's a little different here, man. But as you were saying earlier, the problem there is heroin. The problem here is heroin as well. Um, Fentanyl, but now we got horse tranquilizer, which the horse tranquilizer is xylazine. And xylazine is a whole nother level because that's the stuff that's eating people, that's leaving these big holes in people arms and people legs. And a majority of the people here, after that happens, they gotta get legs amputated, arms amputated, and all of that. So we got a lot of cases here whereas though people legs and arms is getting amputated daily because of this drug that, well, heroin is being mixed with the xylazine, which the xylazine is a horse tranquilizer, and that's, yeah, it's crazy. um but to go back, you know, talk a little bit about my upbringing. My upbringing was rough, man. My childhood, I grew up, my dad, he had full custody of me. He had full custody of me and my brother, and I can't relate to addiction because I smoked weed one time in my life. I never smoked after that. I drunk one time in my life, threw up everywhere, never drunk after that. So I can't relate to addiction in that aspect, but addiction has always been near and dear to my heart because of my family. The first time my mom ever got high was with my dad. My dad, he was a functional addict. My mom, she couldn't function without it. So once my mom was like messed up off of it, my dad kind of sort of left her for dead. And ever since then, she's been fending for herself, trying to figure it all out. As a kid, I didn't have an understanding of that though. You know, it took for me to get older and for me to do the type of work that I do now in order for me to forgive her and have a better understanding of addiction, because addiction is something that I never could relate to, you know?
Mm.
Um, so growing up with my dad, it was rough because he was extremely abusive, more abusive to my older brother, but he was definitely abusive to me, not only physically, but emotionally as well, you know? And, it was rough, man. It was rough. It was many days where I felt like I had to fend for myself. It was many days where we had to go inside of the supermarkets and, you know, steal food just so we could eat. Going to school, they used to give us bus tokens, like school tokens, so we could get to
Yeah.
school. And that was after I got kicked out of middle school and got sent to a disciplinary school. They used to give us tokens. And with these tokens, it used to be like, all right, cool. Well, I could go to the Chinese store and trade these tokens in for money. And that's what we used to do all the time. And I used to just walk and I'll trade it in for some money. But I got money to buy my little snacks, while I'm walking. So that was kind of sort of crazy. But, you know, all right, cool. So it was that, and also, you know, since the age of, I want to say I started getting locked up at the age of 12, 12 all the way up to the age of 24, and it was petty crimes. It was, at one point in time we used to steal cars when I was younger, simple assaults, aggravated assaults from fighting in the neighborhood. When I became of age, like 18, 19, I started selling drugs. And when I started selling drugs, I would get locked up all the time because I was the worst drug dealer in the world. Seriously, I really was. So I would get locked up every single time. So at the age of 24, when I came home, that's when I just told myself, let me just do something right for the first time. And that was me enrolling into barber school. And barber school has really like changed my life forever. Like it changed my life, man. Seriously, it really did.
Dude, that's
How
incredible.
how long ago was 24 when you enrolled in barber school?
That was 10 years ago. I'm 34 now.
So when you turned 24 and you went to barber school and you already had kind of like you said it was the best thing you did, but I think something that you said at the beginning is helping obviously because Jordan and I don't really know you, right? And so
Yeah.
for people listening, we talk a lot on this podcast about like our upbringings
Yes.
and how we were raised and the things that you take away or the things that sometimes you're born into or so on and so forth. But we also believe that you have a choice. Obviously the choice sometimes is a little harder depending on situations,
Yeah.
but I think one of the things that is standing out to me so far about your story is your upbringing with drugs in the house and
Yeah.
addiction. Because, dude, I don't fully understand addiction either because I've never struggled with an addiction. A lot of I was in the Marine Corps, and after we came home from combat, a lot of my buddies went to alcohol or, obviously they weren't supposed to use drugs, but some of them went to drugs.
Yeah.
And I just never understood this mentality of getting stuck in it. It was something
Yeah.
that obviously meant a lot to me, but I didn't fully comprehend it. And, veterans have such a high suicide rate, right?
Yeah.
I still have a hard time today understanding it because I didn't I just don't it doesn't resonate with me in the sense of
Yeah.
I understand what they're going through, but I understood how to get myself out of it, if that makes sense. But with you, I know the stigmatism around homelessness is pretty much the same everywhere you go. It doesn't matter if you're in Philly or you're in LA or you're in New York, right? The If you are not homeless, the go-to reaction is, "Oh, like get away from me," or
Hmm.
"Man, this," whatever the attitude is. When you were first starting out, like how did you for yourself kind of not let that affect what you've done? Does that make sense? Am I asking that in an okay way? I
Um.
guess I guess a better way to ask too would be more like with the stigmatism of homelessness.
Yes.
I know you went to shelter, so that kind of obviously helped you.
Yeah.
But I think for out here and for people listening, it's so easy to not look at them as people. And I don't think that's right, obviously. So how the heck did you get yourself to break that barrier?
Um. To be honest, it wasn't really for me. It wasn't really a barrier to break because they're human, So like these individuals, like that's somebody, if we talking about a man that's homeless, that's somebody's son, that's somebody's cousin, that's somebody's dad, that's out there. So I feel like when I started providing haircuts and I started hearing their stories, that probably is what broke that probably is what broke it because I started to notice that people weren't homeless because they wanted to be homeless. Because for the most part, I feel like that's what people think. I feel like people think that, well, if you don't want to be homeless, then go get a job and get off the streets. It's not that easy, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
A majority of homeless people here in Philadelphia, again, our the homeless population here is individuals that's addicted to heroin here in Philadelphia and then Kensington section of Philadelphia. But the people that's addicted to these drugs and been addicted to these drugs for years, they're not doing it to get high anymore. They're doing it to avoid getting sick, because these
Yeah.
individuals, they'll get high in the morning time, and now they good. They ripping and running throughout the entire day because they don't feel sick, you know? But when they
Hmm.
don't have it, they feel sick. That's when you see them balled up, crying their eyes out, you know? And that's the thing that hurts my soul when I see somebody that's balled up that rather die because they're withdrawing. Because that can kill you, you know, if they withdraw in cold turkey, that can kill them. Um, it's just, it would be that, honestly, it would be the simple fact that I'm able to sit down and hear their stories and know that a few years ago they were good, you know, but what ended up, you know, them ended up homeless and on drugs was, a close family member of them dying, their mom or their dad dying. But
Yeah.
then you got certain situations where, as though, you know, they've been getting high since the age of 8, 9 years old with their mom or with their dad at that young, and they've been shooting dope since the age of 8 and 9 years old. You know,
Hmm.
so there's a lot of stories like that too. And then you got stories like individuals that get addicted to Percocets because they got into a car accident, they got into a bike accident, they broke a bone or whatever. They get addicted to these Percocets that's extremely addictive, and they start off as 602s, they go to Perc 10s, they go to Perc 15s, they go to Perc 30s, which Perc 30s is the highest dosage of a Percocet that you could possibly get. And once they get to the Perc 30, that's such of a financially, that's such of a it's super hard to keep up with a perk habit when you're up to a perk 30. That the best thing to do at mentally for them, the best thing to do at that moment is for them to just buy a $5 bag of dope, because that's how
Yeah.
Yeah.
much the bags of dope is out. The bags of dopes out here is only $5.
Mhm.
So instead of them paying $45 for a Percocet, because Percocets now, they're not even Percocets, they're pressed pills, pressed fentanyl pills. They're
I
not
see.
Percocets now, they're pressed fentanyl pills now. So it, it's just
Yeah.
so much, honestly, it's just so much that, like, try to grasp, so
Yeah. Dude, I just love, um, there's so much interesting stuff in your story. There's so much like gold there, man. I love that you're
yeah,
talking about. I appreciate you. You're telling us about your upbringing and like growing up with a functioning dad and your mom having those issues and
yeah,
watching your brother and struggling and finding selling your bus tokens to get food to walk and all that kind of stuff. And it's like what a cool redemptive story that well what a cool redemptive story that you come out of a situation like that, obviously that turned your heart, your tenderness towards people that are struggling with addiction, people that are struggling to get by, people that are just struggling, and
yes,
then you get this beautiful avenue that ends up being barbering and now leads to this. But I want to go back a little bit, like coming out of jail, or when you're 24, like what did you just kind of like hit your end of your rope, or like what kind of what hit you mentally that was like,
that's a
I
good
need to
question.
change my life, dude. I need to turn this thing around.
That's a good question, because while I was sitting in jail, I told myself, when I go home, I'm gonna do something right for the first time in my life. And that was me enrolling into barber school, because I always wanted to be a barber my entire life. My dad used to cut my hair. And when he couldn't cut my hair, he would send us to the $5 Chinese spots. for me to
Mm-hmm.
get a haircut, and they didn't know how to cut hair, so they'll jack me up. But then the times when my dad didn't have the money to send us, my dad would cut my hair, and my haircuts was even worse because he wasn't a barber by trade. So my brother, he picked up a clipper, and since he was my older brother, everything that he wanted to do, I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
my brother started cutting my hair, and my brother was way better than my dad. My brother was even way better than the Chinese people that I was getting my haircuts from. And my brother was not a barber. But it's crazy because my brother, to this day, he cuts hair now. But he's always been an artist his entire life, you know? So it makes sense. But my brother wanted to be a barber. That gave me the motivation for me to want to be a barber, but I wasn't able to pursue that because I was in the streets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But when I
Yeah.
was sitting in jail, I told myself, man, let me do something right for the first time. When I came home, I went to barber school, and honestly, that changed my life forever. I remember I'm not going to say the first homeless person that I serviced, outside of me going to the shelter at school. But I want to say one of the first homeless people that I serviced was this individual that witnessed one of my best friends at that time. One of my best friends at that time was going through something mentally. He ended up grabbing a gun, putting it to his head, shot himself, killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the last few days leading up to that, he would go to the park and have conversations with this homeless guy. And he built a relationship with this homeless guy. He sent the homeless guy one day to go get a coffee for him. That's when he ended up killing himself. When the homeless guy came back with the coffee, he found them dead. After
Dang.
all of that, I was able to service that homeless guy, buy him a ton of stuff, but most importantly, give him a haircut as well. And got to pick his brain a little bit about, you know, my friend, the days leading up to it, you know? And that was like a very turning point in everything that, that was a very turning point in everything that, that's leading me up to doing what I'm doing today. It's crazy that you asked that though, because I remember one time I was in Dallas, Texas, right? And I was giving a haircut to this guy, and it was an older gentleman, and I would never forget this guy. And I always want to go back to Dallas, Texas, because I want to see if I see this guy, because I want to give him a hug. Seriously, I do. I remember he said, Josh, I don't think you understand the power of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nah, I'm just traveling. Got the opportunity to travel, provide these haircuts. He was like, Josh, it's way deeper than a haircut. He said, Josh, what's different between what you do and everybody else is that you're coming into these communities, you're providing a service, you're getting to know us for who we actually are, and you're building a rapport with every single body that's sitting in your chair. A lot of these nonprofit organizations, they come into the community. It takes them 5 to 10 minutes to pass out 100 sandwiches, some clothes. They take a little bit of pictures. They take a little bit of videos, and they claim that they out here all the time, but they're never out here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when he broke it down that way, honestly, it changed my perspective of empowering cuts and the depth of the depth of what I'm doing till today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it just changed everything for me because of that conversation that I had with that individual in Dallas, Texas. This was years ago, but
Yeah.
I just wish that, like, eventually when I do go out there, hopefully I'm able to cross paths with that guy, because that guy really helped me out a lot with, his words and what he told me that day,
Yeah. Can you tell us more about empowering cuts? Like for people that don't know what it is or haven't come across, like share what that is, man. Because
Bro.
honestly, like I've seen your videos just pop up before, right? But
Yeah,
I never put like a name to the video,
yeah,
right? One of those things that you saw and you're like, oh, dude, that's dope. And then when Jordan messaged you, I was like, oh shoot, dude, like I've seen the videos.
yeah.
So for people that haven't, like, tell us what it is.
It's difficult for me to tell you what it is because we do so much, right? Like the name Empowering Cuts would tell you that I provide like haircuts, you know. When we started Empowering Cuts started off as an organization where as though we travel the country, we provide free haircuts for the homeless. If you notice, I keep on saying we
Yeah.
because I speak into existence that eventually I'll have a team, but it's just me, you know? I
Yeah.
do have barbers and cosmetologists that do volunteer from time to time, and I appreciate them so much. Seriously, I do. But it's just me, really, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so yes, we provide free haircuts. We give out clothes to these individuals as well. You know, we pop the tent. We have them go inside of this tent, change into a fresh outfit, change into some fresh sneakers, come out the tent looking like a whole different person every
Yeah.
single time. You know, we do that. We do food drives from time to time. We do this thing called 7 Random Acts of Kindness, where we go around the community. We ask these individuals, how can we bless you without giving you cash? And we do
Yeah.
that because we know that the easiest thing to do is for us to give them cash. But we ask them, how can we bless you without giving you cash? And that can mean anything. That can mean taking this individual to the phone store to go get a phone and bless that person by paying that bill up 3 to 6 months, right?
Okay.
Taking that individual, putting him in a hotel room for a week, taking him clothes shopping, taking this person just to go grab some lunch so we could sit down with them. You know, like it's so many different things that people ask for when we're doing this 7 Random Acts of Kindness for 7 days. So is that a few weeks ago we blessed somebody that's been sober for the last 2 years with a car. You know,
I saw that, yeah.
um, bro, it's so much that we do. It's kind of difficult for me to sit here and just like, explain it, but it's just we're just sum it all up. We're just paying it forward honestly and just doing what's right. That's really it, to be honest. Like I always say, I got the saying, you treat others the way that you will want to be treated. That's literally how I live my life every single day. You do for others the way that you want somebody to do for you if you was in that situation.
Yeah.
If I was homeless, I would want somebody to provide a free haircut to me because I know how important a haircut is to me. I
Yeah.
still go to the barbershop to this day. My haircuts are $100 a haircut.
Yeah.
$100, and I still go to the barbershop because I love I love the feeling of going to the barbershop, having a conversation with the barber, catching up with the barber. Like I love that, and I could cut my own hair if I wanted to, but I just enjoy going to the barbershop.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's a feeling behind it, right? Like, so I own coffee shops, and
okay.
as part of the coffee shop, people's experiences every day. Like, we have multiple locations. So, where Jordan's at, he's got his regulars, right? Jordan helps me with a lot of things, but specifically for this cafe component, but he's got his regulars, right? They look forward to that one moment of normal. It's like, I'm gonna run in, I'm gonna go get my coffee, but I'm gonna say what's up to Jordan, I'm gonna say what's up to the girls, the crew.
Mhm.
Here in Santa Ana, same thing. We have our regulars who it's their one moment of normalcy, right? They might not go out and spend $50 on a restaurant, but they'll come in and spend $5 on a coffee,
For
and
sure.
they look forward to it. It's part of them, like as a homeless person, they don't get to look forward to those things anymore,
Yeah.
right? They look forward or not look forward. Their perspective of that is like we had a homeless person walk in, I think yesterday, and you just see it from the second people they walk in. We're in a pretty wealthy area here, and it's an instant like, what is that? Like, and
Yeah.
you see it all the time, but that one human doesn't get the luxury of going and getting $100 haircut, going
Hmm.
and getting a $5 coffee. And so I think what you're doing, man, is the word empowering is a fantastic avenue and a fantastic name, but just based off of briefly what you said and the videos that I've seen, you are doing a lot more. And I
For
think
sure.
what's really important and what I want people to really hear from this message is it's very easy for all of us to be complacent in whatever place we're at, right? Whether you have a fantastic life or you have an awful life, it's very easy to become complacent. And I think the second we as humans become complacent, we stop having that ability and that drive to want to get better, and you
Yeah.
become jaded and hardened. And dude, what you're doing is insane.
Hey guys, quick break. This is Jordan with Good Dude, Good Dad. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Hidden House Coffee. Get 15% off your next order by going to hiddenhousecoffee.com and using the code GDGD15. It'll be in the details and description down below. Make sure you subscribe, and a huge shout out to Rode as well. Now back to the show.
And I know this is probably a loaded question because empowering cuts is so much more.
For
But
sure.
what is your dream for it? Like, what in a perfect world, what is the dream, the hope, the goal?
I want to say my goal in the next 10 years is probably for me to open up a shelter and have a shelter, to be honest with you. I want to say that that's the goal. It's hard, bro, for me to really like think of it from time to time because I get so many people reach out to me that want to start empowering cuts in different cities and different states. I just had somebody in South Africa hit me up 2 days ago that was interested in starting empowering cuts in South Africa. You know,
Nice.
it's difficult for me to, again, it's just me. I'm doing all the emailing. I'm doing all of the DMing. I'm doing the groundwork. I'm coming back home. I'm chopping up content, putting my own content on my social media platforms. Meetings from time to time with different organizations to try to get some type of funding. It's rough for me to think that far because it's just me, you know?
Yeah.
And I do this full time. So like this is my job. Like I go out there almost every single day, provide these haircuts. This is my job. So it's kind of hard for me to, it's kind of hard for me to look that far, but I want to say my 10-year goal would be for me to open up a shelter for sure,
Yeah.
Bro, oh man, I have so many questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I saw that video that you did for, I think her name was Rebecca. Was that
Yes,
the one
Rebecca.
you just
Yes.
did the car for?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about like that? Because I have other questions I want to ask about your past and stuff like that, but we're just gonna leave that alone because we're on a good flow here. I want you to
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about this story about Rebecca because I think this is a good way to describe like what like your idea is as a whole. But so can you kind of explain the story and how that happened and where it's at now and
Yeah.
yeah.
So Rebecca, I met Rebecca in 2021. Rebecca, she was standing outside of a McDonald's. She was panhandling, asking for change. That's what she was doing. And I approached her, me and my buddy Dana, we approached her because at that time we were doing the 7 random acts of kindness for 7 days. And I asked her, how am I able to bless you without physically giving you cash? I think her thing was she wanted to go to Walmart so she could get feminine products because she haven't taken a shower in quite some time. And that's what we end up doing. So we end up going to Walmart. I end up, blessing her with, book bags filled with stuff. And afterwards, I was able to give her cash. She was extremely grateful for every single thing that we were able to provide for her. And I want to say a month ago, no, probably like 2 months ago, I get a DM and the DM says, "Hey, it's me, Rebecca. This is me in this video." And she ends up sending it to me. And I couldn't believe it because what she looked like before is not what she looked like now. She looked like a total different person. So the first thing that I did was call Dana. That's the first person that I called. And Dana was blown away about it. We end up scheduling brunch. We end up scheduling something where as though we just all three met up. We had brunch. And on the way back, Rebecca, mind you, I picked Rebecca up. And when I was dropping her back off, one thing that she kept on talking about was she wished she had a car. So the first thing that popped in my head was, I'm about to get you a car. You don't even know it. Like, that was the first thing that popped in my head. I'm getting you a car and you don't even know it. So my instinct was cool. I got on the phone with Dana. Dana's like, how are we going to do this without her seeing it? I said, I'm going to have to block her. You going to have to block her. That's the first thing that we got to do. So we ended up blocking her. I started a GoFundMe. We were able to raise the 5,000 that we were asking for in less than 24 hours. We raised a little bit more of that because we gave people more options to donate, which was Cash App and Venmo. So on the GoFundMe side of it, we were able to raise the 5,000, but Cash App and Venmo, we were able to surpass that for sure. So we were able to find this vehicle. We purchased the vehicle, the remaining cash, we were able to bless her with every single penny, you know?
Oh,
I remember the day like it was yesterday. I went to go
gosh.
pick her up. I had everybody on social media. It just sucked because that day it was raining earlier that day. So everybody didn't come out that wanted to come out. So I made this post, told everybody on social media, listen, we blessing Rebecca with a car. I need you guys to meet me here at this location. And when I went to go pick her up, we were driving to the car. I told her, like, listen, I gotta give you this blindfold because you gotta put this blindfold on. And she was like, what? Like, she was confused. And I'm like, listen, I got a surprise for you. I just need you to put this blindfold on. And we were able to surprise her with the car, you know? One of the most beautifulest things that we did for anybody, to be honest. It's kind of hard to keep up with what we do because we do so much, but that's definitely one thing that I truly appreciated. I know she appreciated it, and I just hope that we're able to do more stuff like that in that line, you know. But again, like just like I was saying earlier, like empowering cuts is so much more than just providing haircuts, you know. It's so much more. So yeah.
Oh, you're such a blessing to people. Like this is, it's funny. I think I saw on yours. It was like look good, feel good, act good. I think is what it was.
Yes.
Um, my old football coach had a joke. We'd always say look good, feel good, play good. But
Yeah.
you don't really know how true that is. You know, like just a little brief moment of hope. What a little injection of hope can do in somebody's life. And like Rebecca's case in point, right? All it took was like that little injection of hope and her whole life flipped around. And that's what's so beautiful, and I think that's what resonates with a lot of people when they're watching your videos is that you're injecting hope in their lives. And
Yeah.
um, dude, there's like it's one thing for you to say that you want to help people, and there's one thing to even like you were saying, those other organizations that go out and just hand out sandwiches for 5 minutes, but to actually like go out and genuinely want to make a change by the way that you treat them, by the way that you talk to people, that you know it's not just a homeless person, it is a person, and that
Yeah.
you're connecting with them on like a soul level. Dude, is just so incredible and so beautiful. I
You're changing lives, man.
Yeah, like you're yeah, it's amazing to watch. I want to dive in a little bit. I didn't even know. So when I reached out to you, I didn't even know you were a dad at all. You know, we can get as in depth or not as you want. I know you have some boys and you have some girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But how are you using empowering cuts to help shape your kids' mindset? You know, like knowing from where you grew up and how you were raised.
Mhm.
How are you trying to break that cycle and raise your kids um, and give them opportunities that maybe you didn't have early on? So how are you doing that? And if that's a question you don't want to
Yeah,
ask,
yeah, no, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. So it's crazy because one of my kids right now, as we speak, my son Javian, he actually cuts hair alongside of me as well. My son Javian is 9 years old. You know, he cuts hair. He's been cutting hair since he was probably 5, I want to say, you know?
that's so
And
sick.
um, you'll see like some of the videos. He's in the videos, you know. I think he even has like 1 or 2 videos on my page of him just strictly just cutting hair. And his passion for barbering is, I think he's more passionate about barbering than I am at times, to be honest, you know. Probably not with connecting with people, but as far as barbering, yes, his passion is way past mine, to be honest. I swear it is. But all of my kids, just in general, it's crazy because my kids, it's kind of hard to go anywhere in Philadelphia without knowing who I am, you know? Like in Philadelphia, it's kind of difficult, you know? So like my kids, you know, oh, my dad is famous, or oh, my dad this, or my dad that. But I always tell them, because we always have conversations every single night of how important it is to treat other people, right? Regardless if they're homeless or not. So when it comes to the homeless community, I think I did a really great job in instilling in them how important it is just to have conversations with them. If you know, if we're in Kensington for whatever, and I'm cutting hair and I got my kids with me, my kids get out the car just to talk to people, you know? So I think that's really big, because I was never, when I first started empowering cuts, to be honest, I'm more of a introvert, right? Like when I first started empowering cuts, I was doing Uber, and I needed to pick people up and put people in my car and try to start a conversation with these individuals that I did not know at all. That was so difficult for me to do that, because I'm like, what am I going to talk to them about, you know? So once I started getting comfortable with just talking to people, I remember it like it was yesterday. I ended up going to this place that did embroidery, like they did like sewing work, like embroidery work.
Yeah.
And I got these headrests. I think I had a Jeep. I think it was a Jeep back then. I had these headrest covers made, custom headrest covers made. And then the back of the head covers, they had the Instagram logo and it said Empowering Cuts. So
Wow.
every time somebody would get in my car, they would be like, hey, what is this? And
That's
now I'm able to talk about what I do. And it was such of a great conversation starter that I think that that's what really changed my perspective of just having conversations with people as well, you know? So I feel like that's extremely important, and that's something that I was able to pass down to my kids, to be honest. But I'm just glad and grateful that I'm in a position where, as though my kids don't have to worry about the same things that I have to worry about when I was younger. You know, I have full custody of 3 of my children from my second baby mom, and I had full custody of them for, I want to say, 9 years. Right after I came home, I had full custody of them, you know, and it was a sad situation, because it started off as I ended up getting my kids, and once I got my kids, her life spiraled downwards. Whereas though she picked up a habit, she started smoking crack, and right after smoking crack, she started doing dope right after. And her life ever since then has not been the same. She's in and out of rehab, she's in and out of jail, and she tries when she is home to be a part of the kids' lives, but it's kind of difficult for me to let her fully be there the way that she want to be there when she's dealing with addiction at the level that she's dealing with addiction, because she's not a functional addict, you know?
yeah.
So it's kind of difficult, you know? So I try my best to protect my kids as much as I possibly could. And then I have full custody of my daughter from my third baby mom. So in total, I got full custody of 4 of my children that's with me all the time. But then it's an additional 3 kids that live with me too. So that's 7 kids in total that's inside of my household. So it's just difficult, me just maneuvering all of my children, you know? In total, I have 11 kids in total, right? One of them passed away, unfortunately. It's 10 that's here. But I adore my children with my life. Right now, as we speak, inside of my house is 9 of them in there right now. Like, I'll bring them all outside right now. Like, but I love my children. Like, they're the real, they're the reason why I'm able to push forward every single day. You know, like I
Yeah.
really adore them. Seriously, I truly do. And I'm just glad that I have the opportunity to keep them together. You know, it's not, oh, this is my half brother, this is my half sister, this is my step brother, this is my stepsister. It's none of that. It's, you're my brother, you're my sister, you know?
Yeah.
Because growing up for me, I have siblings that I was never close to, because my dad only had me and my brother, and then my stepmom, he had both of my sisters. But my other siblings, we were never close to them because we didn't grow up with them. So it's extremely important for me to let my children grow up together, because I always want them to be tight. I want them to be each other's best friends before they even have real best friends. So
Bro,
Yeah.
that's so
yeah,
awesome. I
man.
love that.
I'd say home life, man, is so important. We talk about it a lot on this podcast. Again, is it's something that we're really trying to just encourage people, right? Like
For
it
sure.
all starts at home, right? It
I agree.
and we believe, like, we love the conversation that we get to have with people as men. Like,
Yeah,
we need better men in the world, right?
I agree.
Whether you're a barber, a business owner, a doctor, whatever you are, if we can do our small part in letting our guests like you share your story in the hopes of
Mhm.
creating better men and breaking the stigma of like, oh, you got to do everything on your own, right? Like we
Yeah,
we don't. The three of us in this room, we do need each other. We just met
yeah,
you, but dude, I'm all here for you. If there's any way we can help you, I
100%.
genuinely think if we could do that more as a freaking like a world,
yeah.
so much of this crap outside wouldn't be happening.
Bro,
And
listen, I feel the same exact way, bro. If you guys was to tell me right now, Josh, if it makes sense, let's try to figure out a way for you to come out here, and I'll be at y'all door right now as we speak, providing them free haircuts outside, talking to all of them. I
Let's
yeah,
do
swear
it.
I would. You feel me? Like, if it makes sense, let's make it happen. Like, so just as well as I know that if I need you guys for anything, I want you guys to know that it's here as well. And it could
yeah,
be me just providing my services where you guys are at. That's totally fine. It just got to make sense, right?
yeah,
But I
Right.
have no problem with being there for you guys. I just love supporting I just love supporting people dreams and aspirations. Like, I just love that so much. Earlier I saw this guy. I went inside of AutoZone. Do you guys have AutoZones out there?
Yeah.
yeah,
Got you. So I went inside of this AutoZone, and then when I came out, I saw this guy outside passing out flyers, and his thing was, hey, if you guys need your car fixed, we got a mechanic shop right down the street. And I'm like, I stopped and I'm sitting there talking to him, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I don't think you understand how important it is what you're doing right now by you standing in front of this establishment and you giving out flyers to people that's coming in here and promoting this mechanic shop that's your family's, but you're not even a mechanic, but you're just supporting your family. That's so important because a lot of people don't got that. A
yeah,
Yeah.
lot of people is not doing that. I said, bro, what you're doing right now is so important, bro. And like, I just love that. Like, just the hustle that other people have, honestly, it's just so inspiring. So again, whatever you guys need from me, I'm here for you guys. Seriously, man.
Dude, you're the man. All right, so we're gonna ask two last questions of you here. We
I'm
ask
here.
every one of our guests, but in your own words, because we believe each person has their own definition of what it means to be a good dude, good dad.
Yes.
Um, what is your definition of being a good dude, and because you are a dad, a good dad?
Um, me, me being a good dude, good dad would have to be, to be honest, it kind of sort of spills into what I said earlier, which would be you do for others the way that you want somebody to do for you if you was ever in a situation. It kind of sort of spills over to that, to be honest. Um, on the good dude side, like, again, like, if I was ever in any situation, I would want to be able to depend on somebody, if I was in their situation, for sure. And the good dad, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard for me to really like explain because I try my best, and I feel like everybody best is definitely different for sure, but I
Mm-hmm.
try my best when it comes to my children. And the financial aspect of me trying to be there for all of my children sometimes could be a lot, but the physical aspect, that's easy. It's easy for me to get all of my kids. It's easy for me to, that's the easy part. Like, I adore my children. I love my children so much. And it's crazy because My youngest, which my youngest just turned 5 years old, I would definitely say that my youngest is the one that taught me how to be a dad.
Mm,
Out of all of my kids, my oldest is 14. My youngest is 5. My
yeah.
youngest is the one that taught me how to be a dad because that's my first kid that I was there since he was born all the way up to him still being in my life right now as we speak. All of my other children, I was living the fast lifestyle, I was selling drugs, I was doing all of that. So I was in and out of jail, for
Yeah.
for certain things. It would be their birthday, I'm locked up for 2 months. It'd be, an important, like I was locked up the entire time. But for me to be there for him since the day he was born till now, honestly, I would definitely say that my 5 year old honestly is the one that taught me how to be a dad.
Dang.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And again, like I adore all of my children. My children are really like they're really my heart, man. Seriously, man. I wouldn't know what to do without them. Honestly, I really wouldn't. At times, I would take trips, and I'd be wanting to come back home just because of my kids. Like I'm out there for 2 days, 3 days, and I feel homesick because I'm just thinking about my children. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
That's valuable. That's deep. I love that, man. I love that so much.
You are the epitome of a good dude and a good dad, man, for sure. I mean, even with you, like you were saying, with your older kids, you were in and out of jail and all that kind of stuff. But that might have been the case. But you also have set an awesome example of what it's like to turn your life around and to use the gifts and talents that you were given. Even when you were saying you're like, I'm not even the most talented barber. That's an awesome demonstration in itself. So let's
For
say
sure.
that's even true. Let's say that is true. I don't think it is true. But let's say it is true. You're like, I'm
Yeah,
not even the best barber, but it doesn't mean that you can't use a talent and a gift, even if you're not the absolute best at it, to make a crazy impact. Because
for sure.
hey, there is a barber that's out there that's better than you, but it's definitely not having the impact that you're having on people's lives
For
and
sure.
changing people.
For sure.
Dude, that's
Listen, I agree with you 100%. It's crazy because I had the opportunity to cut people that so many athletes, so many celebrities, and I turn everybody down.
Yeah.
Why do I
that's
turn everybody down? Because as I tell people all the time, I only provide free haircuts for the homeless. That's it. I worked in a barbershop for one day. I graduated barber school. I worked in a barbershop for one day. Me getting paid for something that I was extremely passionate about, which was me providing free haircuts, it kind of sort of it kind of sort of felt, I don't know, it just felt weird me getting paid for providing a haircut. Seriously, it really did. So I lasted in a barbershop for one day that was in South Philly. And after that, I'm just like, bro, I can't see myself getting paid for something that I'm just extremely passionate about, which is why I settled for doing Uber. I was
yeah,
able to do Uber. That was cool. I looked at Uber like a networking opportunity because I was able to network with people and meet
yeah.
people, and I still got relationships with certain people that was sitting in the back of my car at one point in time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's just
It's
yeah,
all about how
listen,
you
it's
frame
deep.
stuff too. Like you used
Yes,
Uber during that time, like you said, you're like, I'm kind of an introverted person. You use that as a way to build your skill set of learning to talk to people and building relationships. So not
mm-hmm.
only were you advertising on the back, but you're actually building a skill set of getting to know people and have
For sure,
real conversation.
for sure.
Last question, man, for you. If there was one actionable step that if someone came to you and was like, "Hey, I want to be a better man. I want to be a better father, or I want to turn my life around."
Or I want to start a nonprofit.
Yeah. What one bit of advice would you give them, or an actionable step?
Whatever you're passionate about, honestly, go for it. That would be it, honestly, to be honest, because a lot of people are scared to take that step because it might not make sense.
Yeah.
But once you meet somebody and that person is able to break it down to you the way that it needs to be broken down, um, I feel like that inspire anybody. The other day, I was talking to this guy that was homeless, but he's a barber, and he was like, "Bro, how much these clippers cost?" And I said, "Bro, I don't pay for my clippers. All of my clippers are donated because I got relationships with all the clipper companies that you could possibly imagine. All
Yeah.
of my stuff are donated. He was like, what, bro? I'm like, yes, all of my stuff is donated for the most part. If it's like something pricey or something that I want, then yes, I will buy it. But the majority of my stuff is donated because I have these relationships, you know? And it would definitely be that. And another thing is that social media has changed my life forever. Seriously, it really has.
Yeah.
So posting is so important. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care if you're only able to make one sandwich and go in the neighborhood and service one person with that sandwich. Sometimes it's extremely important for you to record that interaction for sure, you know? And for me, I get a lot of backlash from time to time because people will always say, well, if you're doing it from the heart, why are you posting it? And it's like, well, if I'm not posting it, then nobody will see what I'm doing, you know? So it's
Yeah.
extremely important for me to post these interactions as long as these individuals that sitting in my chair are okay with me posting these interactions, which they all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one. It's only one person and that person didn't even have a problem with it. His family had a problem with him being posted, and the only
Mm.
reason why they had a problem with him being posted was because at that time he was almost on he was on his deathbed, and he had a power of attorney, which was like a sister or something like that.
Yeah.
And him saying yes to him being posted, which he told me yes, he it was okay for me to post him. His sister was his power attorney at that time, so his sister told me to take down the post, and I didn't want to take down the post, but I understood how ugly it could get after me reaching out to a lawyer that I'm really cool with, and him just telling me, "Listen, bro, just take the post down," you know.
Yeah.
But for the most part, to be honest, I make sure I record everything because it's extremely important. Social media is important, and social media could definitely change your entire life. Seriously, it can.
Yeah.
Um,
What
between
do
both
you
of my
think?
social between both my social media platforms, I have 1 million followers. So I'm able to, round up X amount of donations that's
Yeah.
able to help me with everything that I do in the community, with me going into the community, buying these clothes, sometimes buying sneakers, supporting 7 random acts of kindness for 7 days, which costs thousands of dollars for us to even
Yeah.
do that. The upkeep of our mobile barbershop that we do have that's extremely expensive to bring out. It costs $300 just to fill up the tank for me to bring it out.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we're able to use these donations to fund the whole initiative, which I'm extremely grateful for, because my social media following really moves out for me really hard. They really do. They support everything that I do. So
Yeah. Well, I think to those people that want to say, why are you recording something if it's out of your heart? I think they're missing the intention. But
for sure.
sometimes it's also not their fault, right? We live in a
Yeah.
world where everything's instant gratification, right? It's
Yes.
this phone, everything's all about,
Mhm.
oh, let me record you, because there are a lot of people out there that do it for the likes and for the
I agree.
clickbait, right?
I agree.
But one thing that you said is, I think all that really matters is that what happens in your chair and the way you treat these people is what matters. And if you didn't record that, you wouldn't be in the position you're in. And
I agree.
so, yeah, the posture of the heart is there, but it takes money to do these things.
Yes.
And, to those haters, you just be like, dude, shut up. Like, he's doing something that's dope. His
Yeah.
heart's clearly there. And, the power of social media, we use social media for our businesses as well.
Yeah.
And I truly believe, like you said, man, the power of social media can change not just your life as Josh or us here, but you're changing lives. And
Yes.
obviously, like, not that you need to hear this, but I just kind of felt encouraged to tell you that you're going to get hate regardless, right? Because people
I
always
agree.
want to hate. It means you're
Yes.
doing something right. The more
Yes.
hate you get, it means you're doing something right.
Yes.
But before we kind of wrap up, I wanted to ask you, you are a nonprofit.
Yes. So we are an official nonprofit 501(c)(3) organization, for sure. For sure. We just, um, I just, it's a self it's funded by social media. The whole initiative is funded by social media. To be honest with you, I haven't filled out a grant because grants are very overwhelming for me because, again, just like I told you guys, it's just me, right?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine filling out a grant for a ton of money and trying to, maneuver that money by myself. It's nearly impossible for me to do that. So everything has been funded strictly from social media, for sure, for sure. But we are an official nonprofit 501c3 organization. We can get accepted for grants and stuff like that, for sure, for sure.
Okay. Remind me before we get offline. I might be able to help you with somebody that does grant writing for
Okay.
501cs. But
Okay.
two, if someone was listening to this and they wanted to support you, do you have like a website or something like that they can go to donate?
Yeah.
How does that part work?
Yeah, so as far as social media, honestly, you could just click the link in my bio. My social media accounts is just Empowering Cuts. On Instagram is Empowering Cuts underscore. On TikTok is just Empowering Cuts. But the link in my bio is my website, which the link in my bio is empoweringcuts.org. And
Okay.
that's my website for sure. And it's connected to PayPal, so you can make a one-time payment or you can make a recurring payment.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm going to be linking everything down below. So when we do the
Thank,
descriptions, guys, it'll have his
thank,
Instagram, it'll have his TikTok, it'll have his website, and I'm going to put specifically the page that you can donate on as well. So that will be down below.
thank you.
Um,
And dude, we just want to say thank you. We want to value your time. Jordan and I, again, dude, we really believe that stories are powerful
Yes,
and they tell so much, not just of where someone has come from or who they are now or where they're going,
yes.
but stories can genuinely shape a movement of like life-changing experiences. And I'm just super grateful that you made time for us. I hope someone listening to this gets something, whether it's inspiration, whether it's support, finding new support for Josh, or you feel conflicted because you are one of those people that are so quick to dismiss a homeless person. Maybe we should take that second to kind of check ourselves, right? Because what Josh said, and us as like Christians, we genuinely believe like you got to do unto others as you would like to be treated.
Yes,
And
sure.
I think it's powerful, man. I am super stoked that we have gotten to know you, Jordan and I. Like I
Yeah.
said, if we tell you something, we mean it. We want to figure out how we can support you, help you, and dude, just keep being rad.
Yeah, thank you guys so much again, man. I truly appreciate you guys, y'all time. Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. And yeah, listen, man, I would definitely love to meet you guys in person. Seriously, man.
We're
So
gonna have to
we
figure
got
something
we,
like that out.
listen, we gotta figure that out ASAP, bro. Because I would love to go out there, obviously chop it up with you guys in person, and definitely provide some free services to your community as well, man. I would definitely enjoy that. Seriously.
We're gonna have to figure this out.
we'll figure it out. But hey, guys, everyone, down below in the description, like I said, it's going to be Josh's pages. Go check him out. Go give him a follow. Go donate. I'm going to have the website down below for donations as well. Huge shout out to Josh for coming out and taking his
Thank you.
time. And
thank you.
man, I mean, you don't just say you're going to do good out in the community, man. You're actually doing it, and there's not many people that can say that. So, dude, you're such a blessing to get to talk to you. But hey, guys,
Thank you.
remember, go out there, do good, be good, be a good dude, be a good dad. Have a good day.